Well, welcome back, and what a delight to have back with us now Dr. Wendy Patrick. She is the San Diego County Deputy District Attorney. She's an ordained minister. She's authored the book Red Flags. We talked to her about that on our last visit. She's a political commentator. She jumps tall buildings, outruns locomotives. Hi, Wendy. How are you?
How are you? Thank you.
When do you sleep?
Never.
Well, good to see you. Really interesting to talk to you about Donald Trump and the issue of the Bible. But why do you think this guy is resonating so well? What do you think it is?
Well, a lot of people say it's really refreshing to have somebody that is very honest about some of the issues that are facing the country today. That really permeates, it resonates with a lot of the voters. Now, on the other hand, there are a lot of folks who find him very entertaining, but have absolutely no intention of voting for him. You got to wonder who is voting in these straw polls that are looking like, or making it look like he's leading. Remains to be seen whether those people show up at the ballot box and really sort of follow their money with their vote, if you will. We've got to see if they're actually going to vote for him. But one of the other reasons I think he's resonating is a lot of times people want somebody that's going to be unbeholden, if you will, to special interests that are raising money for the other candidates. He's really distinguished himself in that respect as well, and I know that voters care about that too.
Well, there was I thought the Fox game that they did the last couple of days where they showed the candidate's picture and then they showed a word association. Now, for Hillary, it was just amazing. Liar. Wow, dishonest. And then you go over to Donald Trump and it was blowhard and clown. And I'm going, wait a minute, the two leading people running for president, one's a liar and dishonest and the other one's a blowhard and clown. What are we to make of this?
That's pretty sad, isn't it? Those are the two choices that we have, right?
All right. On the other hand, he has really tapped into the emotions of the country. There's no question about it. Isn't it interesting that he and Ben Carson continue to do very well, and neither one of them are inside the Beltway? Maybe that's one of the reasons. But now the evangelical community is beginning to question, who are these people and what do they stand for? That's right. Trump did say, outside of the book that he wrote, Dealmaker, the other important book, perhaps first important, was the Bible. What do you take of that?
Well, one of the things that I'm noticing, as well as other voters who really, that was something significant so far that he's revealed in his campaign, is that he doesn't want to give any specifics. Remember, there's been a couple of interviews where he's been pressed for scripture verses. What's your favorite scripture? He's explained that it's personal. He doesn't want to get into it. When he was asked whether he preferred the Old Testament or the New Testament, he said they're both good. And one of the other interviews that's gotten a lot of play is the one where he was asked if he'd ever asked God for forgiveness. And his first reaction was very telling. He stopped, he looked right at the camera. I also do body language reading, as I think you know. And he looked like he actually, for the first time, was a little bit stumped by the question. He didn't quite know what to say, and pretty much revealed as much. Then he went on to explain that, no, he had not. He really didn't think of it in terms like that. And then went on to say, well, I would rather just make a situation right. But a lot of evangelicals, a lot of Christians watching that interview questioned his faith. And obviously that's between Donald and God, where, it's not our job to question his faith. But at the very least, it got them thinking along the lines of whether that this is somebody that they would feel good voting for. And I guarantee you haven't seen the end of the religious questions getting tossed Donald Trump's way, given how it is now slowly permeating the debate for all of the candidates.
Well, he was asked the other day what his favorite verse was, and he kind of stepped aside from that one. Now, right. I always want to be open for somebody, to be redeemed. But maybe he's bitten off something here that's going to force him to consider what is his relationship with God. Isn't that a good thing?
Gary, it is so interesting that you say that. That is exactly what I was discussing with somebody yesterday, that it is always a good thing that he is being forced, or anybody is being forced, to consider their faith. He says he believes in God. He says he goes to church. He refers to himself as a Protestant, talks about his pastor being Norman Vincent Peale back in the day. There are so many things that are coming out now that have got to be causing him to question his own faith, which is definitely a wonderful thing. And I know how it is. People people are watching these candidates, both Trump and others, saying, you tell a good or a bad tree by its fruit, going to look at who is and isn't walking. But on the other hand, those same people that are watching and making judgments have to believe that somebody that self-identifies as a Christian hopefully is along the way there, if not being genuine about their faith.
Well, many evangelicals bought the untruth that Obama was a Christian.
Right. That's getting brought up a lot, too. You're right.
All right. So, but we have somebody that may be questioning his faith right now, which has got to be a good thing. We'll trust God to do his best work on that. But he seems to be pro-life. Isn't that a biggie?
That's right. He talks about his stances on being pro-life, his stance on same-sex marriage. He's talking about a lot of stances that he has on political/social issues that are in line with Christianity. He's continuing to do this. And with Ted Cruz ramping up the rhetoric designed to attract and successfully attracting an evangelical base, you might wonder whether Trump is going to make additional forays himself into trying to woo that voter base. He's already started. He's being questioned about it more frequently. He made the comment of comparing himself to Billy Graham because of the size of the stadium. We've got to be fair, take that into context, not stating that he's a great evangelist. But really, there are more and more references being made. And one of the things he could probably continue to assume that he's going to get are questions about Scripture. In other words, it's rare that somebody says the Bible is their favorite book, but doesn't have a favorite part of it. Even when we have favorite movies, we've got favorite scenes. We've got favorite books, favorite chapters. And surely there are some Bible verses that he probably will decide that are okay to reveal. I understand it's personal. Faith is personal for a lot of people, but perhaps he will decide to open up and share a little more about his faith with us.
Wendy, it would appear to me that there's something going on here because just recently, in the last day or so, Donald Trump has reached out to Ted Cruz in a coalition to oppose the president's Iran plan. Now, he probably needs Ted Cruz to go to the Senate floor and try to filibuster, which would be an interesting thing, and support him in doing that. But is this an olive branch of a potential ticket? Therefore, he brings the evangelical vote in with Ted Cruz.
We asked the same question when we heard about the Cruz-Trump meeting that occurred even before the first presidential debate. We also were asked that question the last couple of days, given Ted Cruz's mission and some others to defund Planned Parenthood. So there have been several olive branch extensions, if you will, to Cruz. And even perhaps the other way around is the two of them seem, at least in some circumstances, to be forging an alliance. Now, we don't know what that means. I mean, you can imagine that several other candidates are probably having behind-the-scenes discussions as well. But you wonder whether or not that counterbalance would be something beneficial to the party. We're all looking for more evidence of that, and you can bet we're probably going to receive it within the next couple of weeks, even before the next presidential debate, where maybe it'll be even more apparent who might be talking to who about a potential running mate type of alliance.
Well, we're getting the rumblings of a potential Biden and Warren.
As of last weekend, sure didn't we?
Yeah. Hey, listen, I want to come back to something you said earlier. Do you read body language?
Absolutely. You know, I've written a couple books on it. One is called Reading People, and one that just came out a couple of months ago is called Red Flags. And both really include this idea of how much you can tell about what somebody really is thinking and feeling by looking at not so much what they say, but how they express themselves. And that's why I found that answer that Mr. Trump gave at the one conference to be so telling, is when he was asked if it ever asked God for forgiveness, it really stumped him. When is the last time you saw a political question stump Donald Trump? He is the consummate sort of a candidate when it comes to answering questions. He speaks off the cuff. He speaks from his heart. He's very comfortable in that arena. But this was an instance where he was caught off guard a bit. And to his credit, he actually came back with some transparency that made, I mean, everybody was happy to hear that he was a Christian, that he goes to church, he believes in God. But it was this sort of discomfort. That's probably the best word I can use to express what we saw on television. Maybe discomfort, maybe didn't anticipate that question about whether he'd asked God for forgiveness. And he admitted he had to think about it and did think about it and then came back with an answer. But it really got all of us thinking, we are going to have to be asking candidates more questions about their faith, not just Donald Trump, but the rest of them as well, because all of them should be prepared to give an answer for the faith that they hold or don't hold.
I'd love to watch the evening news in a room with you.
I'd like to interview you in person is what I'd like to do, Perry.
Well, no, just to watch you when they're interviewing somebody to see what the body language is saying. All right, let me just take you over in that avenue just for a second. I only got a couple of minutes left, but I mean, Hillary's denying that the emails were stamped across the top as being classified. Now, I'm no body language expert, but she doesn't look straight in the camera. She's looking all over the place. Does that tell you anything?
Oh, she was so terribly uncomfortable, Perry. You almost felt for her. That level of discomfort was painfully obvious, not only in her facial expressions, but in her body language and the way she was moving her arms. And, you know, it has to do with the fact that, at least according to some people that are now taking a closer look, the allegations that those emails were born classified. In other words, they never became classified. They were always classified by virtue of the content being discussed. If she knows that, you expect that she would, but if she knew that, what you're seeing is an incredible level of discomfort. Maybe she's not good at untruth telling, or maybe she didn't know. We really don't know what's in her heart and mind, but we do know that she was incredibly uncomfortable. Now, what does it mean beyond that? I suppose we'll probably find that out in the coming weeks. But that level of discomfort, gosh, that's got to be so tough, and it's impossible to control. Nobody could possibly control that level of turmoil that she's feeling, and we saw that. We saw that not only in the most recent interview, but in almost all of the interviews where this subject was being brought up. You're seeing that. She is so far out of her comfort zone that none of the natural smiling and natural arm movements that we've seen from her before are present when she's talking about this subject.
Well, I think you and Frank Letts would have a lot of fun together.
I'm sure you're right.
All right. WendyPatrickPhD.com is her website. WendyPatrickPhD.com is her website. You know, let's connect on the other side of the next debate.
Sounds good to me. Sounds like fun.
I think it would be really interesting to have you body language read some of the responses. So, hey, what a delight to have you. Have a great day. God bless you, my friend.
God bless you.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Paulina, and I work at theDove TV. Did you know that when you support theDove TV, you have a profound impact, not only in our community, but around the world? It's your continued support that takes the inspiration and hope in the programs we produce and makes them available to the thousands of people who are watching these videos online every week. Help bring encouragement and hope to our valley and beyond by making a secure online donation today at our website, thedove.us.